What's up? I'm Ed and he's Michael. We're Conquer and Hold.
Every single Monday at 6:30, we stream on the People's Card Shop on Twitch. Some really exciting matches. We will also be posting VODs here straight to our YouTube channel as well. You can catch some of them here and others at the People's Card Shop YouTube. Today we have such an interesting match. I hope you enjoy. Welcome back to our Origins case tournament here at the People's Card Shop. I'm Michael, and I'm here with Ed. We are of the YouTube channel Conquer and Hold, doing the casting today. So great that all of us here watching some great players play. This is probably the last big tournament of Origins meta before Spirit Forge comes out soon. In round 5, we have Yassuo versus a Master Yi. I cannot wait to see how this Yassuo is playing.
Yep, and it's pretty interesting. We're getting later on to the rounds, and both these players are X1. This round, we dipped a little deep. These players are not at table 1. However, we saw that Robbie was playing Yasuo. In the sea of Annie's, Master Yi's, and Kaisa, there remains a Yasuo being the hero of the day, and Robbie is trying to show everyone that he's ready to compete, he's ready to fight up. And I like this matchup, Yasuo versus Master Yi, because Yasuo is a really, really aggressive deck, and sometimes Master Yi's are a little bit slow up to start. So it's going to be real interesting on who takes it and how the matchup goes down. And it's going to be Zon Warrens for the Yasuo player. What often happens with Yasuo is they run out of cards kind of quick because, you know, they want to accelerate some of a bunch of stuff. So they get the added benefit of using Zon Warren's effect of discard and draw. But if you have no cards in hand, you just get a draw for free.
Yeah, a lot of people might not realize that in Riftbound's card trends, the cards try to do as much as possible. And if you can't discard, you still get to do the other effect, even if you can't discard.
And Traveling Merchant for Robbie, it is one of my favorite purple cards to start off with, being able to cycle. It's basically Zon Warrens on a body.
Same thing applies what we're talking about. You don't have cards to discard with the Merchant, you still get a card.
You get to draw a card. And he's a fish. I do like fishes.
I love Yasuo's Legend ability a lot, and I feel like it should have been stronger. Maybe he just doesn't have the right tools right now to really push the meta. Because 2 mana move a unit, you're always having like a pseudo ride the wind every single turn. But it is kind of expensive, and you do have to really build your deck around that ability.
Ooh, and choosing to conquer the Zon Warrens over the Star Tip Peak, he's valuing, you know, cycle. He's able to basically draw 2 off of the trigger of the Traveling Merchant. Plus, once he conquers, he gets the Zon Warren trigger. So it's able to cycle out a lot. Sometimes this Yasuo deck is kind of like a little combo-S deck, trying to move as much as possible. So a lot of this card selection is going to be good.
I don't know.
Clockwork Keeper, solid. Moves it up, scores 2 points. I like that. Cameron does not have access to a lot of accelerated units at 6 runes, so I don't think he can contest the double conquer right now.
And that's the beauty of the Yasuo hero power is if you have 4 mana, it's turning all of your 2-drops into pseudo-accelerate. So we are going to use our Catalyst in order to ramp up, and hopefully we'll be able to play our bigger units like our White Flame Protector later on.
And there's the thing. Cameron activated both Catalyst and summoned a Stalwart Poro. So it signifies one major thing. Cameron is not playing Dazzling Aurora. Or if he is, he does not give a F and doesn't care if he summons a Stalwart Poro. But I don't think that's the matter.
Yeah, the worst Dazzling Aurora is the one that summons the Poros. He only has Poros in his deck.
Yep, Poro Herder Turbo. So here's Robbie trying to figure out what to do. What is going to be 6 mana? I believe he's going to develop. Yep, he is developing his...
Developing Yasuo is pretty strong into Master Yi because they don't have a lot to deal with it. But into a lot of other matchups, it is so risky to put that Yi out right here because he deramps you a full turn. You got to put 2 runes back to your rune deck. And he is not that big on his own, so you need to combo him. So the first turn he comes down, you want to make use of him. But right now, we don't really care too much about using him immediately because our Master Yi player doesn't really have any board agency at all. He just has 1 Poro. Even if he has an accelerated unit next turn or builds a battlefield up, the Master Yi will, or the Yasuo will be totally ready to fight that Yi.
and we are coming into a pivotal turn here. It is 2 checks. If we don't have the Dazzling Aurora, do we have the Dead Bloom Predator? Cameron needs to make a move now. He needs to get rid of these units because if they score any more points, it gets worse and worse and worse because of the Yasuo Legend ability. Basically, every one of his units has pseudo accelerate. So Cameron basically can't let him get too many points or else he can run away with the game.
Also, I don't think he's running the Aurora, but it would be interesting to see like the mid-range Master Yi with just like a random Aurora in there
Around
just
Aurora,
because.
yeah.
He has so much mana and a lot to do. Tasty Feyfolk would be the best play here in order to quickly get into one of those battlefields and take it over for yourself. Let's see what we got. I don't even mind White Flame Protectoring the little Pora in order to trade up into one of the other ones. Maybe trade into the Star Tip Peak so that our Yasuo, our Master Yi, our Yasuo player, I said it right the first time, our Yasuo player does not get that extra rune channeled.
And we see a Charm here. Oftentimes, Charm using to pull monsters into combat. But Charm also has a second use. It can push monsters away from battlefields to try to score a point.
I think a cool play what he might be doing is charming the Yasuo in and then White Flame Protectoring his Poro in order to get a clean. This is why it's so risky. It's so risky to play Yasuo totally undefended because now we're getting him.
And here you go. The Poro's at 10. It's swinging over 10 to 8.
Man.
And no mana is up. And there is nothing Robbie can do here. It literally looked like Robbie had Cameron down, dead to rights. But that's what happens. You can't leave mana open sometimes against certain decks because it basically says, hey, the shields are down and anything can happen. What can Robbie do?
That was such an unfortunate charm. It had to be Charm plus Protector. That was like literally the only way that we'd be able to clear this Yasuo, or a Charm plus a Tasty Feyfolk, but at least we would have traded for the Tasty Feyfolk. That was the worst case scenario. Every card combination in the Yasuo deck, this was the one that totally messed up the Yasuo's whole game plan. Now he's down, he deramped the turn, he doesn't have his big Yasuo anymore, looking really, really rough.
Yep, but the thing about it is Robbie does have a point lead here. He is at 5, so he can potentially, let Cameron develop a board, slowly develop a board, and Robbie can end up stealing a win here. Ooh, and is able to use the ability of Yasuo to push up an already exerted Traveling Merchant, just showing the power of Yasuo just being able to push stuff, but also the key thing is it's multiple triggers of the Traveling Merchant. Over this course of the game, the Traveling Merchant has basically drawn 4 cards. Sure, it's not a +1, but it's able to kind of cycle. And actually, one of the times it was because he discarded a Scrap Heap, often used in conjunction with a lot of these discard draw effects in purple and green.
The White Flame Protector giving an 8 buff and then also being 8 might himself is so crazy that he lost the Pora got back to his hand, but we still have the 8 might White Flame Protector to go in and push anywhere that we want.
Yep, but just as a reminder, against purple decks often have stuff like Fight or Flight or Rebuke to often offset that they can't beat these big monsters that you would normally use cards like Discipline or On Guard to beat. So purple has a lot of options here. Robbie's not dead to rights just because Cameron was able to develop a big creature. There is a lot of plays that Robbie can do.
Yeah, I think Robbie might be able to hold to this final point right here.
And you know what? I can see here that Robbie ended up actually putting up the Zhonya's Hourglass. He does deramp. He does lose the power. But just honestly, what matters in this matchup after seeing it countless times is just having monsters at the end of your turn. If you can do something with your monster next turn, that's great. You can't just lose stats on the board. So I like this play of Zhonya's being able to protect this Traveling Merchant. Traveling Merchant is saved by that Zonia's Hourglass, able to save it. So Robbie is at 2. The issue here is Robbie does have a lot of cards that would kind of push back the White Flame Protector, but Cameron is in green, having access to cards like Defy are able to help stop Fight or Flight from being an issue. Now at this point, Robbie's main answer to a big unit would be something like Rebuke because it has 2 power symbols not being able to be negated by Defy. Also, a big thing here is Cameron has not used his legend, his Master Yi legend. So at any moment, he does have an accelerated unit. And here comes the first mate untapping the Stalwart Poro, basically giving it pseudo accelerate, and is able to go ahead and conquer this battlefield. And the score discrepancy right now is getting smaller and smaller.
I'm a huge fan of first mate. I feel like for a 3/3 with no power symbol, to ready a unit is just such a strong ability, even if you're using it on a smaller unit inside Master Yi to get the tempo back. Ooh, the charm coming out in order to charm someone into the White Flame Protector. When you are the defending player, even from in a charm, you get the additional might bonus from me. But Robbie really wants to keep that pour around for next turn, so he's going to opt to use his negate right now to keep it all around.
And Cameron, you know, honestly, it wasn't auto defy. Cameron didn't need to defy the defy because what I'm thinking from Cameron's side is I only lose to a couple cards. So, you know what? I don't need to fight over this Poro. I'm just going to go ahead and defy the cards that truly matter, and that's Fight or Flight. And I think holding on to that would be the key move here. So it is 6-3. Cameron definitely is on the back foot, but one of the best parts about Master Yi, it's a deck that can actually just come back, not from anything, but it can definitely come back from a huge deficit. Oh, he's definitely not. He's definitely not at 6. He's at 3. All right, perfect. It's because this dude didn't put the card here. That's why.
Yeah. Now we can see it a little better. So we're going to Discipline. Discipline gives a 2 might bonus for the turn, but draws a card. And I think we're just using it at this point to draw a card. Additionally, giving the might, we can fight over that Poro. It's going to be an equal trade, though, because he has Defender and the Yi bonus as well. So we're going to go 4-4. Probably play another On Guard in order to buff us up here. Nice. On Guard gives something +1. If it's alone, it gives another 1. But Cameron has a lot of mana open. He has 3 mana. You know, Master Yi can do a lot of little spells. He can have an On Guard of his own. We're going to Discipline as well. So now we are at equal might, but we're going to be able to draw 1 card. We don't want him to be able to trade for free. I don't mind passing with the 1 mana open back to my opponent, just making sure that they can do something. Cameron's fine to take the trade. Oh, and a Fight or Flight. A deny here is okay, but like you're not losing your unit, but you are giving him the 7th point. That's fine. It's fine. He has 7 points.
And here it is. The shields are down. If Robbie has another Fight or Flight, that is going to go ahead and be game.
Yeah, he probably didn't have deny because he would have kept up the deny if he had it. He would have kept up the 1. Oh, he has a charm.
The charm.
Nice.
And there it is. That's the greatness of Yassuo. Yassuo is a balls to the wall aggro deck. It tries to accelerate as fast as possible, and that's what happened. It was easily on turn 3 a 4-0 lead. Cameron was able to finally stabilize, but because of the huge lead, Robbie was able to peter off into the finish line maybe not the most graceful one, but he was able to get the point. He was able to get the 8th point, and that's what matters here. And this is why Robbie is currently still in contention. He's one of the few rogue duelists left.
Cameron obviously didn't have the Fi up because he wouldn't have, focused his center if he needed that 1 mana for the Fi, because 2 mana on the side of the Yasuo was able to, fight or flight back, or, how he did the charm the unit back in order to get into that battlefield. I wonder what Yasuo's turn to battlefield is. What do you think? Maybe the ganking one, the Hillock?
So he's going to go second, correct?
Yes.
I do like Windswept Hillock. If you guys don't know what Windswept Hillock is, it's whenever a unit is there, that unit has ganking. And oftentimes what me and Michael always say is the going second battlefields that we would normally want is a battlefield that our opponent can't take advantage of. And Master Yi already has ganking already. So in reality, they can't use it as optimally as we would, giving our units ganking. So I do like that, but it's really up in the air. I think it can be really anything. It might be back alley bar even, but back alley bar is, to me, it's not the best battlefield out there, but it's definitely something that only Yasuo and certain decks can use. So it's potentially that there is a huge amount of options here.
I like back alley bar. It's like, it's not that good, but it's really a nothing for most other decks. They can't even use it that well.
Yeah, I do love back alley bar.
It is safer than the Hillock if we Hillock our opponent. His minions aren't that good, but... So it is the Hillock. Okay, so we're Hillocking, and our opponent is going to have Targon's Peak. When you conquer here, ready 2 runes at the end phase. This is going to allow Cameron to fully tempo out on his second turn, play a 2-drop, and then tempo out. And then after he tempos out, he's able to still have 2 mana up to interact. So Targon's Peak is a really crucial early game piece when you go first in order to completely stat out, but leave up some removal options and, battle tricks as well.
A funny thing about Cameron is I think he's playing like a Peak Master Yi deck. He played Star Tip Peak, then he played Targon's Peak. I wish there was a third one. All right, here we go.
Peak.
Clockwork Keeper. Not necessarily the best early game card, but right now we want to just contest the board. So that's very, very good. Robbie has a lot of options here. I wonder what he's going to do. It could be stack deck plus a 2-drop. It's going to be a Stalwart Poro and a pass, not having any mana up, not having any other ways to develop his board.
Also, Aspen's Climb is kind of a peak.
It is kind of a peak, yep.
Third peak.
Third peak.
So now here's the beauty. If we have a Kiana, it's so cool because then we can push in the Clockwork Poro to the Targon's Peak, play Kiana, and then keep up 2 mana, which would be really nice to be able to interact. Oh, so we're going to Hillock instead, getting 1 point.
What people also need to understand here is
That's okay.
that whatever unit is on Windswept Hillock has ganking. So right now, this Clockwork Keeper does in fact have ganking. So maybe that's why Cameron wanted it. He wants to basically threaten both battlefields, at least put a little pressure onto Robbie. But at 5 mana, what does Robbie have? The thing about it is Cameron is tapped out now, so this is his best chance to go ahead and kill the Clockwork Keeper, but it might not have the option to. Ooh, he's moving a readied unit into the battlefield. He most likely has On Guard. And chooses not to do it. Maybe he doesn't have
I think he forgot about the Mastery bonus, right, real quick?
Yep. So with the Master Yi bonus, it's going to be 4/4. So even with it on guard, it's not enough.
I think it's a great play if he has the buff, but he has to buff it up to +3. So he needs 2 mana for the move. So he needs like an on guard discipline in order to get that high up, and then he can move. But if he doesn't, this is showing that he doesn't have 2 buffs in his hand, or he doesn't want to completely tempo out. Because what Robbie's play was what you were, excited about. He's going to move a readied unit into the Hillock, battle, and then gang downwards to get the additional point. But he just felt like it was just too much mana to waste right here.
Stack deck. What it would be great with a stack deck would be a charm. We see a Mind Splitter.
I think he put that. No, I think he kept the Mind Splitter. which is a good card. Mind Splitter allows you to look into your opponent's hand. You discard one card of your choice. It's not even like a spell or a monster or anything. It's just any card you get to discard.
Yep. And then that's the beauty of Master Yi. It stat checks almost every unit in the game. And Robbie did have an amazing play if these were just normal statted units. However, a 4-might Clockwork Keeper is just a little bit too powerful. Ooh, and White Flame Protector is going to go ahead and pump up the Clockwork Keeper and run on over 10 into the Poro. Let's see what Robbie has. And it's a Rebuke. Ooh, that is a solid play here. He's able to score the point, and now he's tapped out. And if we've learned anything from any of our matches today is when you are tapped out, you are the most vulnerable. You don't have the ability to protect yourself with deny, with any of the things. So right now the shields are down. Let's see what Robbie can do.
That is most definitely a Zhonya's Hourglass, but I do think tempoing out is probably maybe the worst thing that you can do in Riftbound most of the time, because it is such a back and forth spell slinger game in the showdowns that you don't want to be fully tapped out. That Rebuke did set us back a lot, though. We are only at 5 mana right now, and our opponent has a lot of agency when it is their turn and a lot of mana. Even if we are able to take out this White Flame Protector, we have the Zhonya's Hourglass to protect it, so there's really nothing that we can do to the White Flame Protector right now. We're thinking if we want to move back our Poro, I think we definitely do, because it's really hard to hold this just with 5 mana alone. The White Flame Protector has the availability next turn to use the Hillock to gank, and while in the start of this match we didn't think anything of the Hillock, at this point, the Mashy player is using it very well. He has big units as well, and while it's definitely better for Yassuo, doesn't mean that Mashy and a skillful player cannot make use of giving all of your minions the broken keyword of ganking. Okay, so we're passing up full mana. We are popping our Zhonya's Hourglass because we are moving. We don't want to lose our hidden. When you move out of a battlefield, you lose all your hiddens. So we are popping the Hourglass, goes back to base. We might just have another Rebuke, but then the problem, well, probably not, because we didn't tap 2 purple. It's out to green. Fight or flight. Oh, ride the wind back into the other one. We're trying to keep up the points. That is pretty deniable, because I feel like if he's ride the winding his Poro up to the top, he's really struggling. I don't mind not denying, because there's a bunch of other things you can deny that are better for you. But it's kind of a very cry for help kind of play when you're ride the winding a Poro back up to a different battlefield.
Yep, and also just as a reminder, there is a lot of open mana up. Cameron can still summon his accelerated Master Yi legend. That's the issue here. I feel like when both decks are kind of going blow for blow, then the Master Yi deck is the more powerful deck. However, the Yasuo deck is a deck that can definitely go super fast off the gate.
But here's the problem again. We're tempoing out again. When we just talked about tempoing out so bad. But if it goes through, it's so good.
Yeah, it's so good. Sometimes you just have to say, I don't think you have it. And guess what? Cameron made the move, and he said he didn't have it.
I agree, because if he moves down the White Flame Protector and your best play was to ride the wind him away, I think if you had a Rebuke or if you had a Fight or Flight, you would have used it on the White Flame Protector. So Cameron knew that he didn't have such cards in his hand, and it wasn't available. Tempoing out our Yasuo. I love Yasuo, but I think the Yasuo unit is the worst part about the Yasuo deck, is that the turn you play him, you are so weak, you are so vulnerable. If a charm comes out here, the game is pretty much over. You spent your turn making Yasuo, you used 2 runes back to your deck, you deramped. If Yasuo dies, you're sitting pretty hard. So we have to see if he has that charm. Looking at his hand, I don't think he has a charm. He's another hourglass, first mate, clock, find your center, discipline. Okay, so no charm. So we're going to clock, maybe try to draw the charm, because if we draw that charm, it's over.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's what we've really noticed in a lot of these green-based matchups, that once you set up a board, if you have the final nail in the coffin, which is charm, it's often too backbreaking for a lot of these decks to fight.
so we're just going to buckle down at the top battlefield and put a hidden under our Master Yi. Master Yi decks, they unit the legend ability gives you +2 if you're defending alone. So you want to make sure at least one of your units is defending alone. While one clockwork is 2 might and the bonus for Master Yi is 2 might, it kind of cancels out, so it doesn't make sense to put it there if you're stacking beyond that point. So we have the 2 additional Poros with Defender, then that's when you want to stack.
And just as a reminder, we are in round 5 out of 6. This is the second to last round. The next round is going to be our bubble match. Then it's going to be a cut to top 8. Both players are contention to make it. As it stands, it seems like there will be 3 X1s at the end of Swiss, and at round 4 X2s that potentially can make it in. Obviously, ties and things like that will be able to change it, but both these players are in the hot seat. They don't want to lose another round.
This is a really important turn for Yasuo because you got your Yasuo back. So if you're able to move your Yasuo in, he gets to deal his might to an enemy unit like during the combat before the actual battle calc happens. So you're able to kill units before their might is decided and if they win or lose that combat.
The only scary part about this is, the Yasuo deck is really scary when you have a large amount of mana. You're able to activate the Yasuo Legend ability. You're able to activate Discipline and ride the wind in the same turn. But as it stands, Robbie only has 6 mana up. That's not many plays. Oftentimes, you want to develop the board, plus you want to...
That's a nice discipline. Yasuo discipline. It gets to do the attack trigger and maybe snipe that white flame protector.
That's a full trade, honestly.
Yeah. Now, I don't necessarily like pushing in Yasuo right now. You can use... Right now, if that discipline got denied, he wouldn't have actually fully killed the white flame protector. In your base, you might want to discipline Yasuo and say, yo, negate me now, or whatever. And if he doesn't negate you, then you could push in with your Yas. So he left himself a little bit open right there for the deny.
Yep, and Robbie would have just only traded, and that wouldn't have been enough. And it's on to game 3.
Yeah, he had 2 Zhonya's hourglasses. He had the one in the back and the one hidden. It was just too much.
So now Robbie gets to go first, and this is actually the scariest it could be for the Master Yi player. The Yasuo player, he can go turn 1, 2 drop, turn 2, summon another 2 drop, move the first 2 drop up, then use the Yasuo ability to score 2 points in the same turn, while Cameron still hasn't really developed much. I think if Robbie's able to do that exact scenario going into this game, Robbie really has a good shot making it in. But again, the longer the game goes on, the more likely Cameron will win, just due to the card quality of the cards.
I think Yasuo has cool color combo, but the unit is just so expensive. If Yasuo gets a cheaper unit in the future, I think it'd be really cool. Maybe like a 4-mana Yasuo, so that for 6 mana you can Yas and move them.
The one thing is the Yasuo, in my opinion, the Yasuo Legend ability is so powerful.
It is pretty powerful.
They kind of had to make a little wonky Yasuo because, man, moving your units is, again, one of the most powerful things. Let's reveal the battlefields. It is going to be Obelisk of Power versus a Targon's Peak. We had a sneak peek of Targon's Peak last game, being able to go ahead and just untap 2 runes, but Obelisk of Power. But remember, Obelisk of Power is a optional trigger that starts at the beginning of the game. Let's hope Robbie does not forget to channel this extra mana, because if Cameron remembers and Robbie doesn't, it is gonna go real bad. And then, ooh, we see here Cameron gets to do one of the best starts you can with the Obelisk of Power start. He gets to go second and have Catalyst of Aeon. That's going to be 8 mana on turn 2. That means even Dead Bloom Predator's online.
We're just deciding what we want to mulligan. We definitely keep the Catalyst. We have
It's a spell, draw 1, and makes everything ready.
I don't mind keeping. I don't know. Maybe keep the Poro.
In my opinion, honestly, Michael, I would not keep the Poro because I'm locked in on my turn 1 play being Aeon. Catalyst of Aeons. And here we go. There it is. We did not forget the Obelisk of Power trigger. It's going to be a good game. Stalwart Poro to start. 1 mana open. Anything could happen. Let's see what Cameron's doing. Catalyst of Aeon sounds like the next best move. Boom. Catalyst of Aeon, which means 8 mana is up. We have 5 mana. 5 mana is a great turn because now he can play a 2-drop, shove up that Yassuo, and now we have 1 mana to keep our plays live. Let's see what he does. Oh, and it's on a Targon's Peak. He'll be able to have even more mana untapped. So let's see what Robbie chooses to do. I see a Stalwart Poro in hand. Are we going to move it up with the Yasuo? That's the real question. Ooh, here it comes. Yashigi is coming in, scoring a second point, and that's what I said, that is what Robbie needs to do to even start to get going. He needs to apply this pressure. The best thing Cameron can do right now is he has 8 mana. He needs to Dead Bloom Predator, kill one of the units, and then that's it. It goes to 3 points, and we start 1-3. That's when the real game begins. But if Cameron's able to overtake this Targon's Peak, he actually gets to untap 2 mana, and I can see a Charm in his hand. So it's, Charm plus the Master Yi is going to be a little sick nasty.
He could have Fight or Flight.
6-3. Let's see what happens.
I think he has Fight or Flight. And he has the
or
Fight or Flight.
Flight.
Being able to move back any unit from a battlefield, just to make sure that big units where you can't kill them, just push them back to the base for now. Deal with them later.
Now, the real thing here is Robbie going to develop his board by playing the Yasuo again? Is he going to open himself up to what happened game 1? Robbie didn't lose that game, but it could have potentially spiraled into something else. Let's see what he does. We can see here there is a Rune Prison, a Charm in Cameron's hand, so it is filled. And there's the Mask of Foresight. Every time a unit battles by itself, it gains 1 might, whether it's on offense or defense. The key thing here is it's every instance of battle. So with every green card that Robbie's able to kind of stymie the attack of Cameron, then his Poro gets bigger and bigger every single fight he's in for that turn. But Cameron has, I believe, it looks like he has Defy.
Zonia's.
Oh, no, it's a Zonia's, not a Defy. Okay. I was about to say, if he has Defy, Charm, and all that, his hand is bazongas. That's the thing. When you're playing a control deck versus aggro deck, sometimes you feel like you're walking on eggshells at any moment. The control deck can lose control, and the aggro deck just sits there and will blow them up. We see a Discipline.
I think we do have a Charm. Maybe.
I've seen a Discipline. I've seen a Charm.
Another Fight or Flight.
All right. So just so everyone knows, this Poro is at 4-2-6. A Discipline makes it go to 6.
We have our own Discipline here. Counter Discipline with Discipline.
And is Robbie going to? Is Cameron just going to let it be a trade? I don't think he will.
Just using the Zonia's Hourglass.
7 mana, a tasty Fey Folk can come into play. I wonder what's going to happen here. But honestly, this pushing back the Master Yi was such a good play because it makes it to where Charm is negligible. But the first mate comes down, runs into the Pouty Poro. Let's see what Robbie has.
That was a good play. I like how he used that Zonia's Hourglass. He valued being able to reuse that.
Ooh, and Rebuke gonna go ahead and bounce that Master Yi. The Master Yi is gonna be accelerated next turn, but you know, Robbie's game plan is basically like, I don't care about how many cards I lose. As long as I'm getting 2 points a turn, I'm chilling.
He got a lot of value from the Yi, and the way he played, if he buffed the Yi, it would have definitely got Rebuke, and he wouldn't be able to trade. So he traded his Hourglass for the minion to make sure that he couldn't hold, but then he had to Rebuke anyway, because when the Yi went back to base, he was able to get readied and go to threaten both battlefields. So he snuck out a unit kill and also made the opponent burn the Rebuke in the same time. Good use of the Zhonya's Hourglass.
Now here's the thing, Robbie only has 3 cards in hand. He still has access to his legend unit ability, so essentially around 5 cards to access. The problem is Robbie keeps using these cards basically for tempo, and he's going to run out of cards. This is not a color combination known for drawing a lot, or at least getting +1s. I'm pretty sure he's going to move the Poro back, send it up with Yasuo to score the point, get to 6, perfect. And then now, Robbie, if I was Robbie, I would want to make my board as big as possible. Summon as many monsters as I can. There is the Traveling Merchant. And is that going to be it?
He does get the 2 mana up from Targon's Peak on the end phase, so I don't mind fully tempoing out here.
Yeah.
He also has a Mashi to push in, so it's really hard to fight versus that Yi. So we're going to tempo out 2 minions. And, oh, did he forget to trigger the Targon's Peak? Targon's Peak, you do have to trigger it. It's on Conquer. So he forgot to, on Conquer, trigger Targon's Peak to get up his 2 mana.
But honestly, Robbie probably did forget it, but it was one of those instances where he doesn't have anything to play on Cameron's turn. Maybe that's why he didn't even deem it necessary.
I totally agree, but you always want to keep up the mana to threaten your opponent so that they think you might have stuff to bluff, because now you're telling them that you literally do not have a Rebuke or a Fight or Flight. So if you kept the 2 mana up to say, hey, I might have a Rebuke, maybe he doesn't play the Yi, and maybe he doesn't want to waste his entire turn on Yi, and you bait Cameron into developing instead of playing the Yi, which is probably the best play right now to push in. Yeah, so he is just going to play that Yi. There is no threat of a Rebuke. We only have 1 mana up. There is no 1 mana spell that can protect us from this Yi right here. He honestly probably just forgot about the Targon's Peak. Cameron's really thinking. He's going to have 5 mana at the end of his next turn, or at the end of this turn, flip 2 up, and he's just going to pass and keep all 5 up. I don't disagree. You don't need to overextend. Mashi's ability is so free low.
I think I see a rebuke. I think I see a rebuke in Robbie's hand. That's my favorite part about these Yasuo decks or a lot of these purple decks. It always feels like it is a Rubik's Cube kind of puzzle where you have all these options of moving around stuff, and once you see the correct answer, it's going to be great. Ooh. And he's going to move it up to Master Yi. Does the defending trigger happen immediately, or will it be able to deal 6 to the Master Yi?
Yeah, once your unit goes in, the first thing that happens before the combat is the game determines who's an attacker and who's a defender, and then the attack and defender bonuses apply to the units.
Okay. So then there would be basically no way for the Master Yi to for the Yasuo to kill that Master Yi, even though it is 6 might. Okay.
That's why you can't, like, if they flash in a Shen, you can't just, like, gust the Shen back to their face, because the Shen is a defender when it's in the battle, and it is just at 5 might. It's like a passive.
And this is it. This is like the pivotal turn. Honestly, if Robbie doesn't win in like the next 2 turns, Cameron will be able to turn the corner, and this lead will not matter. He's moving up the Yas. He's moving it into the first mate. He's going to score a point, killing the first mate. However, that Master Yi does have ganking. It can come over and just kill the Yasuo at any instance.
Right here, if we buff our first mate bigger than Yasuo and he doesn't kill it, that'd be a sick trade, but we're just going to take that. That's just the problem with Master Yi or Yasuo. He's so much mana that when you play him, you can't do much else most of the time.
The cool thing here, though, is because of the mask, it makes it to where if Master Yi goes ahead and tries to attack into the Yasuo is still up by 1 point. A on guard. Oh my gosh, there's an on guard. There's
I
a
think
white flame
too.
protector. If I was Cameron, I'm summoning that white flame protector on the Targon's Peak, pumping up my Master Yi and ganking on over, crushing this Yasuo.
What's 1 mana just on guard and defy that Yasuo could have up?
Yep.
That's it.
And honestly, as if I seen anything from these green mirrors, White Flame Protector is going to be king because it can't get defied. It can't get interacted with by a lot of cards. And there you go. Cameron showing the correct move here, putting that monster into play into the base so he's able to have a hold point there. But more importantly, now the Master Yi is going to be at 14, runs up into the Yasuo. 14 into 7. Let's see what happens here.
I really doubt anything at all could happen. Except for the death of a Yasuo.
Yep.
Man, another Yasuo running it down in the mid lane.
There's no O2 power spike here, guys. So now Cameron is trying to think of what he wants to do here. Is he going to try to put on a little stack on top? The thing is, honestly, if Cameron has a charm here to back up his immense board, I think the game is omega over.
He put another unit in there to play around double. He needs like 3 movements because he has 2 people, but they're going to be buffed by 3. So,
yeah, if you just move the Master Yi, it's gonna be 3 to 4. Okay,
yeah,
so it still doesn't do it. So what he's doing right now is he's just traveling merchant. He's just trying to just draw some extra cards. More likely than not, it's not trying to deal damage or anything like that.
trade with the clock. Trade with the clock. Draw an extra card. That Tide Turner is literally worthless right now. It is Cameron right now deciding on what to do. So what's going on here? I think he just wants to trade for the clock so that he could push him out. Is he going to try to buff the clock up? I think he's going to try to buff the clock up. That way the clock won't die. I don't even disagree with that because if he has 2 movement abilities, then if Yi's the only one in there, he can just be pushed out. So we're going to buff it out. We're not going to trade our unit. We're going to draw an extra card. We are down on mana, though. We only have 1 mana open for a negate. And this is going to be rough, but it does keep us out of range of being double pushed out of the battlefields. We are going to activate our... What's that guy's name again?
Mind Splitter?
Mind Splitter. In order to look at our opponent's hand, and we get to discard 1 card to the graveyard. Or the trash pile. No, it's not Yu-Gi-Oh! Mind Splitter is such a powerful card. It just is such a... It's a 7/7, which is nice, and the 2 power pips is really heavy, but the effect is so crazy. Look at your opponent's hand, discard 1. Room Prism, first mate, Unguard. If we take away the Unguard, there's nothing for them to do this turn, but there's a lot of other things that are just more important than taking the Unguard away. The Dead Bloom Predator is pretty hard to fight against, but we just need to take away interaction. We need one turn we're able to fully fight into our opponent and win both battlefields in order to get our, 8th point and win the game.
Yeah, honestly, the Mind Splitter, it's just a lot of scary cards. I think it's tough, right? So I don't think it's Rune Prison, because Rune Prison, you could just push away stuff and not try to win off combat, maybe. If I was him, it'd probably just be the Dead Bloom Predator, just because it's the most stats out of the board.
Man, his entire hand is good.
Yeah, his hand is obscene.
The first mate's the weakest card, and it's still a good card. Maybe Dead Bloom, yeah. He's just big. We're just putting him off bigger units because if he develops more bigger units like that, it's just getting rougher and rougher for us to compete in and actually push him out. 4 minutes left in the round. We're both on our final game, game 3, 7-4, 7 on the Yassuo. We have 1 mana to charm over. Man, it was such a good play to buff up that little clockwork, because if we didn't buff up the clockwork, I think that Yassuo would have been able to take it.
The issue here is the tasty. Oh, you know what? I think Robbie has a shot. If Robbie untaps and the card he drew is literally Fight or Flight or Rebuke, he has the. Oh no! Oh no!
No, yeah.
No. The Master Yi has ganking, so the Master Yi is gonna run over to the other field. You rebuke that. But at that point,
he has the Tasty Fate Folk.
He has a Tasty Fate Folk, exactly.
Yeah,
that's the thing that makes it rough.
So it doesn't matter if we even
there's the rebuke.
He did have it though,
He
but
had
it's too
but
hard
because not enough.
There's 2 threats. There's just 2 threats to deal with, and even if you rebuke the Master Yi, he just plays him again. Man, he was so close, but the game is just slipping away here. Even if he's rebuked, I think you just don't rebuke here.
Yeah, at this point, you don't rebuke because you know that rebuking the Master Yi is just going to lead to another Master Yi coming back down.
Now we're in the same situation. This is literally the exact same situation as the last turn, except the White Flame was on top. But now we have Mind Splitter, 7 might.
Reinforce it with the Tasty Fate Folk. Cameron's game plan here is to not lose. He just needs to make sure he can't get double Fight or Flight, double Rebuke, multiple bounce spells. If he can just avoid those by stacking multiple units on a battlefield, sometimes the Yassuo deck doesn't have enough stats to go ahead and fight it. We can see here that he has a Gust plus a Rebuke. He can fight off one battlefield, but it's not going to be enough. The Yassuo deck ran out of steam. That's the coolest part about Yassuo. He runs in super fast, scores 4 points. However, he basically had 2 cards for the rest of the game after that, and it was not enough to push through the finish line.
Maybe in the next set when Yasuo actually gets access to Ezreal and Called Shot, they're able to, look for more cards and actually have more of a draw engine, because purple right now is not too good at drawing. Actually, it's not good at drawing at all, and neither is green. Green just has, discipline. But in the next set, when purple does get that heavy buff from the Ezreal Prodigy is 3 mana, 3 might. When you play him, you discard 1, draw 2. That is so crazy for the Yasuo, because a lot of times they don't have any cards in their hands, or some Yasuo decks run the scrap heap, so be able to draw 3. But right now in Origins, he's running on steam. He's running on empty.
maybe next set we can play Spirit Wheel in our Yasuo deck, so we can continue have like some source of a draw engine. You know
What
what I
color
mean?
Spirit Wheel?
Spirit Wheel is purple.
That's cool.
Yeah, big fan of Spirit Wheel coming into the set, and it's going to be a Gust on the Clockwork Keeper. We know he has Rebuke in his hand. Robbie will able to be conquer the first battlefield, draw a card, but however, it looks like this Master Yi will take over too much.
If we rebuke him, the other guy just gets the might anyway of holding. Okay. Fight or flight. Maybe. We have a lot of mana. If we have like fight or flight rebuke, we're pretty good right now. Rebuke.
If Robbie has, I don't think Robbie has a single card. He has one card in his hand. If his last card in his hand is a fight or flight,
He also gets to draw.
he gets to draw another card. If the last card in his hand is fight or flight, Robbie has able to steal this game. But Cameron,
3, 4? What's 4?
3.
Yeah, in Riftbound, if you go to conquer for your 8th point, you have to get both in the same turn or hold. If you go to your 8th point, but you can't actually be at 8 because you have to conquer both, you draw one.
And from what I see, I don't see. Yep, and that is it.
Man.
Cameron with a nail biter. You can see it in his face. He was nervous after that first game. Literally on turn 3, it was 4-2-0. Robbie had it going crazy, but Cameron was able to kind of just bunker on down, say, I know what my win conditions are. I'm going to play it a little bit slow, and he was able to just maneuver his way into the victory.
Yeah, Yasuo, the unit himself is so risky because I feel like Yasuo was in the driver's seat the entire game until he ran out of cards to play. And then once he's like, okay, this is the time to play Yasuo, then it's like the Master Yi was able to come back all 3 games when that Yasuo was played. Because Yasuo doesn't have any immediate on-field presence. Maybe if he had, I don't know, it's just a lot of mana for not an initial burst of power.
I think one of the big reasons why the Yasuo won the first game is just Zon Warrens, because Zon Warrens he was able to basically cycle 4 cards with Traveling Merchant and the Zon Warrens. Plus, there was a key activation on the 4th turn. He discarded a Scrap Heap. And normally, again, the Yasuo deck is not a deck that gets a lot of +1, doesn't get a lot of card advantage. So being able to filter and then set up that turn of Scrap Heap, it gave him enough juice to go ahead and draw enough of spells to win that first game. In that second and third game, there was no access to Zon Warrens. There was no combo with Scrap Heap. So we saw Yasuo for what it was, a deck that can't get a bunch of draws going. And for it to win against big monsters, it needs to see 5 or 6 spells in conjunction with its creatures. And that's asking a lot.
Yeah, I think maybe you put invert timelines in your deck for some additional card draw. But it's just really hard that Yasuo runs out of steam and you're just, you're out there doing nothing.
And, that's the crazy thing about it. We're out of rogue decks now. Everything that is currently X1 or undefeated is Annie, Master Yi, Kaisa, the 3 decks that we knew were going to be the threats of this. There was a lot of interesting decks coming up today. There was Misfortune. There was a lot of victors we've shown. But they failed to the wayside to the 3 most powerful decks in our format. But again, the Yasuo was X2 now. He has a chance to still make top cut. There are going to be 4 X2s that still make it in, and we'll see what's going to happen. Michael, you have anything to say about that?
I really wanted Yasuo to win.
Yeah, I even said it game 3. Like, if he gets to open up 2-drop, next turn another 2-drop, shove both in, that is the best chance a Yasuo has. But it wasn't enough. He didn't have enough cards to draw.
Well, we will be in our 6th and final match for today. After that, we are going to have top cut depending on what the players want to do. So at least one more match, so don't go away. That was actually timed the round like 3 or 4 minutes ago. So after the final people get finished up here and we will get round 6 up to you, maybe 5
maybe
to
top
10
eight,
minutes.
maybe top 4, maybe finals. But I do want to say thank you guys so much. We have 50 viewers, and that's crazy. We didn't even advertise this. We were just filming. If you guys like what you see, I'm Ed. This is Michael. We're Conquer and Hold. We're a YouTube channel. We love commentating. We love streaming. We appreciate you guys. Thank you for the 50 watchers. And the next round's going to be up pretty soon, okay? So, whoosh. I'm still talking. You can hear me.